Hey guys, so this is my rules, explanation, and playthrough of Earth Reborn Scenario 4. You can copy this map from the scenario book. However, there's going to be one 3x1 tile that you won't have. Don't worry about it, just put substitute tiles with the same characteristics and features on them. Great. So, new and exciting about this scenario, we're going to learn what this iconography is. And so this is just essentially the game's way of giving you the explanation of all the equipment in just a fast, efficient way. So I'll walk you through how to read it. So the first symbol here is when you can use it, so during the activation phase. So activation phase is the bulk of when Earth Reborn takes place. So that's when you're activating characters, attaching order tiles, spending command points. So that's all the activation phase. And because that's the main thing that you do in Earth Reborn, most of the equipment will take place during the activation phase. So during the activation phase, the condition here is in purple. You'll spend one command point, and it won't be spent directly on the equipment. Instead, it will be spent on an interact order section. So that's the hand symbol that you see on order tiles. There we go, on the right there. So that's interact. Spend one command point on an interact section, and if it's at 2, you would have to spend 2. So you need an interact section with at least 2, as is the case there. In this case, it's 1. And then make a science roll. So what's a science roll? Well, there's science and engineering. If you come over here, on the character card, it's just 2 symbols we haven't seen yet. So here's the science and here's the engineering. So in the case of Vasquez, she would get 2 dice. If she gets 4 damage, then she would get the result of 4 life points. The dice she's rolling are these ones here, and it'd be like doing close combat against a wall. So 1, 2, 0, and 3 would be the values. Let's say Vasquez wanted to do this one. So 1 command point, make an engineering roll. If you get 2, then you get to plant the plastic explosive. The problem is Vasquez's engineering is an automatic 1. So how does she get 2? Well, like any other order section, she spends additional to add a die. So she could spend, up to 4 on that order section, which would give her 3 dice to try and get this 2 on top for 1 automatic damage. Okay, I'll talk a bit more about this one. So something else I haven't addressed. In the top left, just like with weapons, there's a magazine, and in this case there's a number. So that means when you successfully do the iconography, if you fail, don't worry about it. When you successfully do it though, you'll place a wound marker. When the number of wounds reaches the number in the top left corner here, then that card can be thrown to the discard. For this scenario, we'll keep them out in handy so that we remember what they do when they activate. I'll show you what I mean. So suppose Vasquez makes her roll, she does get 2, then she gets to plant the plastic explosive under her feet. So obviously she doesn't want that going off right away. So it won't go off until the final phase because there's a 1 here. The final phase is the last thing that happens in Earth Reborn, and that's when the Salmite player passes. It's the end of a round. So the Salmite player passes, the Norad player passes. Any things that are 1s flip to 0s, meaning they detonate in a lot of cases. So here it would detonate and it would do the corresponding damage. If there's a 2, then you can plant 2 mines on 1 card. In the case of here, the 1 will turn to a 0, so it will be activated, but because it's a mine, as the pictures show, you need a person to step on it for it to explode. Here's a time bomb. There's only 1 of them, and this, again, doing the successful rolls, you'll turn it on, and it will require 2 turns to explode. So the first end of round, or the first final phase, the 2 will turn to a 1, and then on the next one, the 1 will turn to a 0, and of course detonate. Some other cool equipment here. We have Kevlar armor, which Vasquez is carrying, and we'll actually equip that to her right now. And all it does is this armor symbol is going to replace this armor symbol. So the defensive value is greater. 5's the highest any character has, so it's an upgrade for anyone, and a huge upgrade for Vasquez. Other cool equipment, a motion detector. Just by holding on to this, all order tiles attached to Vasquez, any black order section can be used as an interrupt. And this is just so thematic. So for a motion detector, to make it so you can interrupt because you're more aware, it's really, really cool. Over here we have Nick Bolter. And the cool thing that he's carrying is a targeting lens. So we'll attach that to his machine gun. And like you would expect a targeting lens to do, it increases your targeting. So you get 1 extra die on top of the 1 extra die the heavy machine gun gives you, along with Nick Bolter's +1. So 3 dice on targeting for Nick Bolter, as it stands. James Wu doesn't really have anything cool. We sort of talked about it, and it should all make sense. And again, as long as you stay within a character's weight allowance, that top right number, then you can hold as much stuff as you want, right? And characters whose movement crosses each other can also exchange these equipment while sticking to the weight allowance conditions or restrictions. Other cool things. Over here we have a taser gun. So because on the condition here we're showing the shooting arc, rather than being activated by an interact order, it'll be activated by a shoot order. And what happens is you roll 2 dice. So you're given 2 dice, you can add extras. If you get 3 damage, then the opponent you're attacking, you're going to take 2 command points from the bank here and place it on their character card. And what that does is it uses up their maximum, right? So if he has 2 spent on him, then he only has 5 left. And again, just very thematic, right? What does a taser do? Well, it slows you down, and that's what it does in this game. Jetpack, again, another great example. So in the activation round, 1 command point on interact, make the engineering roll. If you get 3, then you can make 6 movement anywhere. The restrictions to that, so you can move through enemy characters, you can move through friendly characters like always, you can move through these dotted lines. The catch is that you have to pretend rooms have a roof on them, so you can't move through walls and you can't move through doors, because you'll pretend they're hitting the roof. Okay, so before I explain Jeff Dealer's cool stuff, I'm going to quickly give you the scenario rundown. So I actually put these on here. You get to choose where they go, though, and I'll explain why I had them there. So Jess Hollister has been left in charge of guarding the secret safe room, where there is an article that Jeff Dealer told her to protect with her life. Don't let anyone in, no matter what. As a determined soldier, she won't go in, and she also won't let Jeff Dealer in. So that item is safe. The only way someone's getting in is if they break in. It just so happens the NORAD player super want this artifact, which, by the way, is the U.S. Constitution right there. And so what they do is they set off a bunch of bombs over here, and then Jessica Hollister sends all the Salamite players over to go kill the NORADs, and it turns out it was a big distraction that they're actually attacking from the other side of the map. So now we just have Jessica Hollister alone trying to protect this whole place, particularly the safe room, along with Jeff Dealer. Realizing they're outnumbered, Jeff Dealer is going to try and create zombies. And so that brings us to our first win condition. If the Salamite player can manage to create 3 zombies, then that'll be a big enough army to scare off the NORADs, and so they'll win. How do you create a zombie? Well, looking at Jeff Dealer's equipment, there's actually a zombie serum. So during the activation round, you spend 1 command point on an interact order, and you need a cadaver. So where do you find cadavers? Over here we have a zombie lab with plenty of them. However, you have to be careful. You have to make sure you're facing the right way. So you see this red arc? Your character must be facing the corresponding directions. If he's facing this way on this arc, then he can use these 2 cadavers. This way, these 2 cadavers. There's also a morgue over here with the same type of setup. So that's the condition. Then you make a science roll. If you get 4 damage, then you have your zombie. Now the catch, there's only 1 zombie serum, so exclusively for this scenario, when you use it, you'll grab a command point, sorry, not from your pile, but from just the wound pile, and you'll put it on the zombie serum. And then what you'll do, you'll be able to replenish it by doing these set of steps again, minus the cadaver and the zombie outcome. So during the activation round, spend 1 command point on an interact. If you roll science of 4 or greater, then you get to remove the wound, and you're up and running to make more zombies. Cool. So that's something that the Salamite player is going to really try to be doing, because that's going to be the easiest way for him to win, is to create 3 zombies. The other cool thing that Jeff Dealer has is a zombie control device, and why it's a bit confusing is that there's 2 lines here of iconography. So the bottom one, first off, they have to be activated using separate interact order sections. So you use the bottom one to turn this thing on, and then once it's on, you spend 1 command point on an interact section while facing a zombie, and then you get to give 3 command points from the bank to that zombie for him to use on order tiles. The cool thing about this is that means that zombie can actually go over his command point limit, so it's extremely powerful and extremely effective. Okay, so now I will place these characters back where they were. I'll explain why. So the NORAD player needs to get to the safe room in order for them to complete the objective of stealing the Constitution and escaping off the map this way, which is their win condition. So I'm going to keep Jessica Hollister here protecting it. And then the easiest Salamite win condition is to make zombies. So I'm going to have Jeff Dealer here with the proper facing so that he can start creating zombies as soon as possible. Okay, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to grab my starting order tiles because everything appears to be set up. So 5 per side, and again you can mulligan if you're unhappy. Neither side will, just to save a bit of time. In terms of command points, the Salamite player is going to start with 10, and then he's going to get a bonus 6 from Jess Hollister and Jeff Dealer, and so putting them at 16. And the NORAD player is also going to have 16, 8 by default, and then 8 bonuses from their different characters. And again, just that's the bottom left value, right? Great. So the NORAD starts with initiative, and the Salamite player isn't going to interrupt. It's the first turn. They want to see what they're up to. And just before I actually start doing stuff, I have the rule book pulled out here. And it's just, if ever you're worried, you know, the iconography, it seems heavy, they have an extremely well laid out guide to help you read it, sorted by character, floor tiles, and equipment. And so it's all very simple, and it's step-by-step instruction on how to do it and what the effects are. So just don't be intimidated by that. On the flip side, don't be intimidated by the fact that all the iconography is explained. Just by doing the 2 that I did, I'm sure that you were able to do the 3rd one, and you're piecing them together on your own. It's very simple, extremely intuitive, and I absolutely love it. It's part of what makes this game so great. Okay, so over to the NORAD turn. I'll explain what I'm thinking. Even without looking at my order tiles, we need to get in this building. To break through a wall, you need 10 damage. Very hard to do, but we do have explosives, so not impossible. The only place where there's a weak spot is over here where there's a door, which still requires 5 damage. Now the first time I did this scenario, I was trying super hard to blow up this zone, and the reason for that is that it's quick access to Jeff Dealer, who, if he successfully makes 3 zombies, the game's over. So we have to get to him quick, and it's also quick access to the secret room that Jess Hollister's guarding. So needless to say, I think running around here might be very effective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open, just because if you break through this wall, all hell breaks loose for the Salamite player. Like, they're in huge trouble. So I'm going to start by sending my most powerful character, depending on my order tile, that way, and then the other 2 will go around, break through this door, and see what's in. Something I didn't point out was there's keycards just about everywhere, and both Salamite players have one. Okay, so coming over here, we're looking for high shoot. High shoot really is what we're looking for. We can try the 3 shoot, but that'll be all I try, because I did screw up one round trying to do this. Okay. So let's go Nick Bolter. I'll activate him and I'll attach this command token to him. Spend 1 command point on movement, giving me the 5. And we'll go 1. I'm actually going to go 2. And I want to share spaces with James Wu because I want to trade him my mines for this time bomb. And the reason for that, mines need to be stepped on to be activated. A time bomb will just explode after a certain number of turns. So I think that'll be a quick way out for us. Because that's something you have to think about, right? The escape route. I don't want to be running this trail again to try and save myself. And so I'm going to plant this bomb once I get close enough. So 1, 2, continuing my movement. Oh, and to stay within the weight allowance, I gave James Wu the mines, also worth 2 weight. 3, 4, 5. So I can't get quite enough to do that shoot I want to, but that's okay. I'll wait till next turn. Not a big deal. So that's the end of that turn. Coming over to the Salamite player. They want to make zombies, but they need a good enough interact to do it. So again, we're looking for high values on the hand symbol, and they just don't have it, it seems. So you might think I should try it with one hand, but I'll show you the card. Jeff Dealer, his science value is 1. The zombie serum, you need to roll 4, so it's actually not even possible to do with one die. Because Jessica Hollister is well set up, what we're going to be trying to do is we're going to be trying to draw better tiles for a large portion of this, because that's really all we can do. So let's spend 1 command point. We'll draw a tile, and again, we need that high interact, because that's going to be the easiest way for us to win. No luck this time. Back over to the NORAD. So I would like to initiate Nick Bolter again, but I actually can't, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll send Vasquez running around. The downside about me not breaking through that wall this turn is that I might be sending her the long way for no reason. Okay, so I'll use this movement here, and that'll be it. So I'll spend 3 command points, and the reason I'm doing this all at once is because there's a wall separating us, so there is no line of sight. So it'll be 18 movement for Vasquez, and I'm happy with the equipment she has, so I won't be exchanging with anyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's crazy, you know? She could have up to 4 command points, I guess, on a move, but up to 5 command points spent, and so you can see how far you can really move in this game in one turn. A lot can happen. Okay, so back over to the Salamite side, who are hoping for interacts, and if nothing else, then at least they can get some high shoot orders for when the NORAD players successfully break in. Okay, so there's a good shoot order. Unfortunately, interacts are the ideal for them. So that's the end of their turn. So now, activating James Wu. He's also going to start running. There's not much in terms of move value left, though. That's okay, though. I'm going to save this one with the interact icon to help Nick Bolter plant that time bomb. And I'll use this one on James Wu. So we'll spend 1 command point, and that'll give us 5 movement. And I'm going to send him by way of Vasquez. Worst comes to worst, he's not too far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the end of his turn. Okay. So Salamites, again, are still hoping to draw, right? There's no reason for either of them to move. I got to choose their opening placement. I do realize that Vasquez is coming hard and fast here. So I might have to do that. I might have to intervene as Jessica Hollister, but for now, I'm happy drawing tiles. So drawing 1. Okay, so that's a 2 interact, so that's one we could use next turn. Something I just pieced together and worth considering. I totally forgot that I had mines. So providing that they don't break through this door this turn, it is extremely beneficial for me to get to here and plant that. Great. So over to the north side, anybody's fair game, and I'm going to do Nick Bolter to see if I can break through with a bit of luck. So here I go, starting with movement. So I'll spend 1 point. That gives me 5 movement, and the first thing, I'll see how close I get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm picking my facing here. I'm going to try and shoot open this door. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to spend 3 command points on that shoot order. 1, 2, 3. So the first initiates it all together, and then we start doing targeting. So 1 die, 2 dice, 3 dice for Nick Bolter. So all we need is 1 space because the door is considered attached to that space, or the wall, sorry. Great, so no out of ammo symbols, right? So that would have an effect, but luckily I didn't roll any. So now I get to go to damage, so 3 dice plus the additional 2, so 5 dice. We need an average of 2 damage per dice for this to work. Let's hope it does. Right, so this is what I did last time I tried this, and it didn't work, but I would be kicking myself if I didn't try it and it would have worked. So there it is, and I won't be standing here trying to push it or anything. I'll just drop the time bomb and leave. Okay, so yeah, so it's still Nick Bolter's turn, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 2 more command points. on this interact section to use the time bomb. So first of all, make sure you're in the activation phase, check. Spend 1 command point on an interact section. We've used 1, so that means the other one will give us a bonus die. Roll for engineering. Nick Bolter gives us 2 dice, 1, 2, then we'll have that additional 1 from the extra command point. What do we need? We need a 3 to plant this and to turn it on. Nice. So out of ammo doesn't matter, only when shooting does it. So 6, so that's more than enough. And so we'll be able to plant the time bomb and it will be on. And so I'll grab one of my on markers. And because I've laid down my 1 time bomb, Nick Bolter is no longer carrying that equipment as it only has 1 next to that mag symbol. So it's on, so I'll put that on this card. And it'll be there for 2 turns, so I'll grab one of these markers as well. The reason why I didn't have to be right next to it is because this thing has a crazy explosive area, in case you're wondering why I didn't get next to it. So the red zone will affect all of these squares. So it will affect this doorway for sure. And the only reason why I planned that, again, was for the escape route. And it'll take 2 final phases for it to take effect. So now, over to the Salamite side. As Jessica Hollister, I want to get her there. If I could do it over, I would have started her there. It's just, it makes way too much sense to plant a mine here and to wait it out as characters try and get in. So that's definitely what I'm going to do. So however much movement that takes, it'll be worth it. So having a look here, this one has 5 movement. Okay, so activating Jessica Hollister, attaching one of my tiles, and knowing I won't get interrupted, I'll spend 3 movement on that 1 section right now, putting me at 15. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to open the door. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, so I need 2 damage on my engineering. So she gives us 1 die. So I think it might, if we get lucky, it'll be enough. So I'll spend a 4th command point on the interact section. So here we go. During the activation phase, check. Spend 1 command point. Check. Roll for engineering. So that'll be 1 die in the case of Jess Hollister. We'll see if she can get it. If you get a 2, yes. So if you get a 2, plant the mine. Does the backside have the 1? No. So plant the mine, or plant a 1 symbol. So this will be our placeholder for now. So the mine will only take effect, will only be considered planted at the end of this round, at which point we'll replace it with this, and if any character steps on it, including my own, it will blow up. So I'll place these stacked. Great. So that's a really good move, because the only way they're getting in here right now is by fighting their way through Jessica Hollister, which would be very difficult to do before the end of the round. So a smart play by the Salamite players. Alright, NORAD, what are we doing? So they have their bomb placed, and they realize that they've got to go through this door. But now Jessica Hollister is being a jerk about it. It's tricky stuff. It's tricky stuff being a NORAD player trying to steal the U.S. Constitution. I'm going to stick with that plan, though. I'm gonna see if we can break in. What do we have? We have 5 command points, so we'd have to break in before the end of the round, which just isn't doable. Well done. Well done. Okay, so I'm gonna try and break through another wall. With James Wu, if I could get movement. No, I can't do. So I'll spend 1 of my command points just to show you actually what I'm doing. So his gun gives me 2. And this would give me 2 more dice, so 4 dice to try and get 10. It's hard, but it's not impossible, so that's going to be my fallback. So here I am spending a command point, hoping to draw a tile with a bit of movement, and ideally some great shoot or close combat. Okay, so some movement, what we wanted. Over to the Salamite side, they're super happy about what they've got going on. I have to remember to save 1 command point for Jessica Hollister to get her out of there, because if she ends her turn here, then the mine's going to tick to 0 and it'll actually go off with her on it. So I have to remember to save a command point because I don't want to move her off until the last minute. Alright. That being said, I think the Soundmites have been lucky, so we'll see if they can get lucky again, and we'll attach this Jeff Dealer and try and create a zombie. So during the activation phase, check, spend 1 command point. We'll spend 2. So spend 1 command point, check, and be facing a cadaver. Check, just because of the facing symbol will give me access to these. Make a science roll. So in his case, it'll be 1 die plus my additional leftover command points. So 2 dice. If you get 4, not bad. So 3, and that's average, right? So you can't complain with that. So had I gone 4, I would have had a zombie and would have been 1/3 the way towards my objective. Anyways, wasn't the case. I'm still happy I did it though. Using a 2 interact, that makes sense, I think. Okay, so I'm going to attach this movement here to James Wu. Again, all these characters have been activated, so I'm able to pick whoever I want. And I'll attach 1 of my command points on movement. And I'm going to try and just bust down this door. I don't have much other choice. So let's come... If I break into the bedroom, it doesn't give me much. I can get in. Okay. 1... I want to make sure I land my shooting, my targeting, which is a 1. So I'll go to here. That way, if need be, I can still run towards Vasquez. The default plan, if this doesn't work, one of us gets blown up by the mine, and then the other 2 run in. Sounds like a terrible plan, but I don't have any better ideas. Okay, so I'm going to stop James Wu here and attach some command points to the shoot order. All 3 actually, so the rest of my command points. Now the reason I stayed 1 away is because his targeting's 1, so I won't roll for it despite James Wu's additional die. So I've made the targeting and now I get to go to damage. So 2 dice plus the additional 2 extra command points, so 4 dice, we need 10, so it's a very ridiculous roll, but with a lot of luck, not good enough. So 3 for this one, putting us at 7. Okay, so NORAD's out of command points, so they're going to be passing for the rest of the round, which really opens up the opportunities here for the Salamite player. So before I forget, I will move Jess Hollister off this space. So actually, I'll just look at the mine. So the explosive region is the space it's on and everything adjacent. So if I back up to here, I'll be good. But I want to go central again in case one of these guys breaks through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 to close the door. And that's the end of her turn. The NORAD player, no command points, is forced to pass. So the Salamite player, I think the best move, once again, is to try and create zombies. We don't have a good enough interact, though. So what we're going to do is we're just going to be spending 1 command point to try and get one. Okay, so there's a 2 that we can use. The NORAD player passes. I'll spend another command point. No, we'll go for it. Attach this. No, I'm sorry. So the reason I won't attach it is because Jeff Dealer's maximum is 5. So if I can draw a 3 within the next 2, then I'd much rather use that. So here we go. 1 command point spent to draw, hopefully a good interact. Yes. Okay, so it paid off. NORAD's forced to pass. And now I will attach this to Jeff Dealer. Spend 3 of my 4 left command points on this. And just another player on the board is huge. I mean, zombies are actually quite strong. And we'll actually send them out with Jeff Dealer's knife as well, once we create them. Okay. So going over to the zombie serum. Activation round, check. 1 command point spent on the interact, check. Make a science roll. So 1 die plus the additional 2. So 3 dice. This should go through. We need 4 damage. So 3 plus 2, 5. That was close. That one was scaring me. Okay, so 5. So we've successfully created a zombie. So over here, ready and waiting. If you look at Zombie 1, Zombie 2, they're identical in every way except for their figures. They're so identical that actually their character cards don't match up with their figures. Yeah, so Zombie 1 here, if you look at his position, it's actually Zombie 2 on the figure. It doesn't matter though. So Zombie 1 will pretend is this guy, and we'll put him on the map right where he was created. So now he can be activated and assigned move orders, and he would be somebody great to send over here to defend. Great, so no player passes, and we will move Zombie. We'll try and use something that doesn't use up anything worthwhile. So this one, for instance, will give us the move without wasting anything too beneficial. So let's activate Zombie, and we'll attach 1 movement order to him, giving us 3 movements. Okay. So how does that work? Let's really think about this. So we go 1, and we step on Jeff Dealer here. From Jeff Dealer, we will take the knife, and we'll also take just the knife, I guess. Just the knife. I'm sorry, because this worked. Off symbol, right? Or sorry, wound. We'll do a wound. Off or wound, either way works. Just remember that in this scenario exclusively, it can be replenished. So we'll grab the knife, and we'll actually also grab his key card so that we can leave. 1, so that's all move 1, right? All those actions don't cost anything. 2 to open this door. Then I'm going to give him back the key card. And then 3 to get out, and because that's the end of my turn, this door closes. Okay, great. So Zombie 1 is out and roaming. So no player passes, and the Salamite player will also pass. I'll bring you guys back once I refresh everything. I'll decide which one of these order tiles are worth keeping, and I'll bring you guys right back for the continuation of this interesting scenario.